everybody. Welcome to class today. So good to be here with you. I'm excited for our coaching today and our whatever questions show up. This is one of my favorite sessions. Do I say that every time? I kind of like these different ideas, I guess, quite a bit. Um, so let's see what's going on with all of you. Can everybody who's here just sort of, gosh, it's been kind of an intense week in the world, hasn't it? So do we say that every week? It's been an intense week. It's been an intense week. But how is that living in you? You know, like, do you want to share here? Please. I don't mean to become in any way political here. That's not my intention, but just to like, here we are learning ways to help ourselves and help other people. And it's okay if sometimes, maybe I'm saying that to myself, like, it's okay if you're stressed out, Magali, as you're doing your best to step forward into the day and the deeper purpose. And I think sometimes just acknowledging, especially when we're in a learning community, in a supportive community, just what's up for us. And for us, not a commentary on the injustices and tragedies and everything else, but just like, wow, how is everything landing here on this person today? So for me, I needed to do like extra power filling today. I fortunately had the energy to get out of bed this morning and take a really long walk. And then in preparing for class, I was like, I really have to prepare my energy too. So I just finished doing some kind of free flow singing, chanting kind of thing to get those resources really alive in me to to hold space today for myself and for you guys and for our learning. So I'm gonna read what was written here. An intense fortnight, yep. Um yeah, nice that you took a break for yourself, Sonia, and like we're able to reschedule an appointment. I think that's so important when we know we need that and then we do that. It's huge. So we're going through these energy coach training modules, and I want to speak to a minute to the folks who are in the energy coaching program, whether it's from the past or the current. And I know we're a very small group today, so I'm assuming some of you are listening to this in recording and it applies to you as well. And Linda, this might be new to you, so it's good for you to know too. What I'm really doing is I'm picking out the session plans, the strategies that I think are most important, and then I'm listing them in the energy coach training under 2025 live classes. And those of you who are in energy coach training as a student who don't want to go through all of the content can do the live ones and get certified. So being here or listening to the recording is enough to get level 1 certification. I am going to include like maybe 2 videos that I just can't help it because they're important unless I choose to do a live class. I'm trying to decide. It's going to be about 18 of these like live classes, maybe 15 live classes and 2 or 3 extra ones to qualify you. And then in the program, there's many more hours, and then there's a level 2 also. But I wanted to make it simpler for those wanting that. Now, if you're in mentorship and you are like, well, I'm doing it all live anyways. I like coming live. I want to get the certification too. Write to us and we'll adjust your tuition so that you can get that certification if you want to. Because I realize you're getting the live aspect of that training, which I am now focusing until January on energy coach modules. You can see there's um, a lot in common with group coaching, and there's a lot in common with activation method. But the intention of the energy coaching, even when we use this strategy that's also taught for general activation method life coaches, when we're doing this, and I'll talk about this as we go through the steps, if we're working more at an energetic level with a client, that means we're going to pay attention to breath, to the body awareness, to that somatic level of integration and wisdom that comes through the senses. And next class will be the senses, the seven senses healing session. That's really important when working at that level too. So one could do this session today from a more mental place or a more emotional place, or include more of a body orientation, energy orientation. And that will depend not only on what you call yourself as a coach, but who your client is. Because we're not going to force a client who's very mental, very visual, very auditory to suddenly be somatic in their body. We're not going to force that. We might ask questions. Where would that be in your body? How does it feel to take a deep breath now? What does it feel like to connect with the whole body? And so this way we slowly sort of plant the seeds that their whole body, their whole energy is part of the equation of their empowerment and their healing. How many levels are there? Said Jenny. There's really two levels in energy coach. Level one is the first 1 to 16 modules, and level 2 is the 17 to 32 modules or something. Those who signed up for Energy Coach got both levels, but because of how long it takes to teach all that content, I signed up for teaching live that first level. And we'll see where that goes. I kind of can't help myself. I'll probably keep teaching energy coaching no matter what, because I love it. Doesn't matter if there's 2 people or 100 people. I love to share this, so probably I'll be here sharing it. But I've only committed till winter break. Okay.
And Magali, Charisse has her hand up.
Beautiful. And I love what Ali said too. I'm working so hard creating a map to help us navigate these times. I went swimming twice today and I've started singing again too. That's beautiful. Yeah. And Charisse, hi.
Hi, Magali. Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I am finally finishing up the energy coaching.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. It's taken me a while, but I'm
Well,
actually
you've done
going,
everything. You've done all the
yeah,
training.
I
So
have almost, not everything, almost. I still have to finish up the relationship, and then I
okay.
want to do, of course, the parenting class. So
Okay. Beautiful.
then I will have done it all. But I'm still working off of the 2023 journal for submitting.
Okay.
Okay. I think because that's what I signed up was 23. And it was, you had all the submissions for all of the courses. So I'm actually at I'm almost done. But I guess I should ask, what is the new requirement to graduate and certify? Or
Well,
should I
I'm
just
making
finish
it
that up?
easier. I'm making it easier, not harder.
Oh,
So
well, I'm almost
probably,
done.
but
Thanks now.
I have to be honest, I'm not sure how much changed and I want to check what classroom you're in. I just want to make sure you have the most recent classroom.
I keep going back and double checking. So now I'll look at the lives. But right now in the energy coaching, I think I'm on the blocks and entities. So
Okay. Fun one.
yeah,
You're in the heart of the energy coaching, the
I
entity.
am. So
Yeah.
and I keep going back and making sure I have the most recent downloads and everything.
Great. But well, I just want to make sure you have the most recent classroom, because what I do
Oh,
sometimes is I duplicate a whole classroom, and I think I moved everyone, including you and all new students, to the newest classroom, but I just want to make sure. So I'm going to make a note to check on and I'll be in correspondence. I'm sure you're doing everything great with the journal, and I'll let you know if there's any way we can, I know it's right at the end for you, but don't worry about practicing the sessions on someone else. You can practice on yourself.
Okay. Yes, if you could check, because I definitely want to make sure I have all the current
Okay.
guides and everything. Thank you, Maggie. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely. You should have gotten 2 big books
I
with
do
all
have
the,
that already, 1
okay,
through
great.
16
Most
and
of the guides are
17 through
there.
31.
And then there's new things being added all the time, just within the training. Like today, I added a sort of quick guide PDF slides, and those are in the mentorship group too. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you now. My
Perfect.
slideshow has the pictures, but the classroom has one without pictures that Linda is going to share the link to that right now. I think this is an easier guide to use for the coaching, but you also have a long version of this as well.
Sounds great. All right, thank you. Yes, that just let me know that I'm staying current and all that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, cool. Any other share question? Anyone have a gosh, I'm wondering if Karen's here. I know you wrote in you were working with a teenager soon, and I don't think I was able to answer you yet. I don't see Karen though. Um, if anyone has a pressing question, a client they're working with, anything like that, raise your hand now. We should talk about it first. Anything personal? If anyone feels really brave and wants to do a little demoing with me today, we're going to see how it goes, okay? I'm going to walk you through these different steps and ask you to self-coach as I walk you through it. I'm also modeling how we could do this with a group. And then I was hoping for certain parts, we'll see where you guys get to as you're doing this on your own. I'm hoping I'll get some volunteers to work with me kind of for the more interactive part of the session, let's say. Okay. And I know many of you are somewhat familiar with this session plan, either from a boot camp or from activation method. So we'll see, how do we bring a little energy magic to it? Okay.
And Magali, I actually have a question about this. So,
Great.
it's not a client, actually, it was a friend I met for coffee this morning, and she was talking about brain fog and just feeling very low energy. And she was referring to that her like executive functioning ability was just like so low right now. And, I love that kind of popular idea of executive functioning, right?
Yeah.
But as I was, getting the email and looking through it, and I'm thinking, this seems like a perfect session plan if you have a client who brings up that idea of executive functioning. How would you kind of think of that?
Yeah. So the goal might be like, what can you imagine her saying her goal is or her intention?
Well, she was talking about the fact that she's like unable to clean her house, and she starts something and immediately she's like super tired. She's leaving on a trip on Thursday and she keeps procrastinating packing. And she said she has 15 loads of laundry that she needs to do. So yeah, I would say it probably would have to do with organizing, cleaning, getting herself
Yeah.
situated to be able to go on her trip.
So what I've been thinking a lot lately about beliefs.
Mhm.
And so some clients might find, and you might find when you're working with them, that there's like a belief conflict. Some might find there's like an emotional something that's creating a friction emotionally. And so often when we ask for a goal, what we're really getting is an obstacle. So she presented you with an obstacle, a resistance or a difficulty, right?
Mhm.
I can't get organized. I can't clean up. Maybe she said I'm overwhelmed or I'm
Mhm.
stressed out.
Very much
She
so,
used some
yeah.
emotional language too, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what we're tracking as a coach to figure out. We're using a lot of executive function, not
Mhm.
just energy and heart, right? We have to
Yeah.
think here. What is this person's resistance or obstacle?
Yeah.
And then how do we help get from them a powerful intention or goal?
Right. Yeah.
So you might ask, as you know, Linda, like, what would you like to add in
Mhm.
that we could just take note of as a goal here that you're adding in to give you what you need to do to organize your home, which is your
Mhm.
goal. And
Yeah.
she might say, that's where I'd be really interested to hear what she says.
Yeah.
I need to think
It's
differently. I need to feel differently. I need to have more energy in my body. Like, I'm curious.
it was interesting because as we were talking, she mentioned that she kind of one of the last things she said was procrastinating, putting stuff off to the last minute. I think it's that energy of something having to be done by a certain time. Like she's leaving at 6 a.m. on Thursday. It has to be done by then. And that gives her like that catalyst of getting something done. So how can she kind of create that type of a goal and catalyst for herself, right?
Right. And so some people, it seems like it's almost like they thrive or they need the danger of the
Mhm.
deadline and the pain associated with what will happen if I'm not done to
Mhm.
find the motivation to do this.
Mhm. Yeah, so
And
interesting.
others will be much more stressed if they don't start packing a week in advance.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's an interesting just difference in people.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, but so I would find like help her clarify that goal or intention as we're going to do in this
Mhm.
session. And then I would, maybe this is just what I'm interested in, but I'd be curious because I know because you also do so much yoga and help people
Yeah.
with their body. I'm really curious just to know if her body feels differently than her mind does, if there's a conflict there,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
what her body is saying versus her mind. I'm
Yeah.
also really curious, and this is like where we can just all ask ourselves, what would you be curious about with this friend or client? What are you curious about? If
Mhm.
there was a belief, could we have a curiosity about that? Like Linda, do you think there's any beliefs there that you would be curious to know more about?
Yeah, I think that that would be something real like maybe that belief that she needs that time crunch in order
Uh-huh.
to
Uh-huh.
energize herself. Like she may have seen that as a pattern and she may actually think, well, it ends up that I work fastest, most efficiently when I have that. I
Mhm.
also think she spoke about how tired she is. She has a dog walking business and she's like sometimes she'll have 16 dogs that she's taking care of at one time. And so she's tired and she's managing all of those schedules. Um,
Mm.
and she mentioned her body being really, really tired, her health not being great right now. So I think there's so many areas to be
Yeah.
curious about.
So back to the belief thing. So
Yeah.
when you get from what the person's saying a certain belief, you could ask, so is the belief like this? And
Mhm,
then could we find if there's a conflicting belief? Because
mhm,
usually our brain fog or our executive functioning not working is because there's a conflict in either our energy, our body with our mind, or a conflict between our beliefs.
mhm.
Like, I
Yeah,
need this pressure to be organized versus um to be organized, I need to something else, be able to be in the moment.
right,
Who knows what it is? And
right.
then we can work with the strategy to empower the empowering belief
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
to heal the obstacle of the conflicting belief.
mhm. Yeah, because I could definitely see that maybe you'd have this belief you need that pressure, but then you may also have a belief that that pressure is creating pain and illness in your body. And so
Right.
you're like, may have conflicting goals. I want to be healthy and feel relaxed and less stress, but then feeling like, oh, but I need stress in order to get anything done. So,
Right.
oh,
Well,
now
that
I'm getting extra.
yeah, so that's really juicy. And if any
Yeah.
of you have like the specialty of working with overwhelm or stress, this is a great example of something that often people, it may not be the house or packing for a trip, it may be a work project or some other thing that they're organizing that's creating that pressure. It's good stuff. Okay, so as we keep going, keep sharing us with Linda what you think you would use with her, okay?
Good stuff. And
So
then I see
that'll be good.
Rocio has
And
her.
Rosio. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Magali. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I don't know, you have a little time, but I have a personal conflict this past week, and it has to be related with family and children. And I find myself kind of hard to disconnect from the emotion that how strategically deal with it because it's family and it's a child involvement in this whatever happened. So I give you a little bit, if it's okay, I can
Yeah.
share with you and you can walk me through if it's time enough. So
Yeah.
I have a niece that is about almost 9 years old, and she got bullied at school for a whole year, got some, got some issues developed with like OCD, obsessive compulsive, and also some anxiety. And I'm pretty sure there are other facts that aggravate the situation. So she's been going through therapy, and she's been doing a lot, a lot better. And she got to play a lot with my grandchild, which is 5. So I take care of them a lot.
Together.
They do play together and they love each other and they have a great time together. So it's been a lot of this summer has been a lot of great times, and they sometimes they play together really good and sometimes they have the little things, but they're kids.
Right.
But in the last visit, she got to sneeze really hard. Like, when you sneeze and you go like this,
Yeah.
but not just a little sneeze like that. It was pretty
Big.
wiping, wiped their whole arm twice in each arm. So I automatically came and give her a wipe, but the wipe was not going to be enough. So I said, come on, honey, let's just wash your hands and clean your arms. And that was it. 3 days later, I get a very message from my brother, and behind obviously his wife, that they were so upset about it because she feel very uncomfortable that I wash her hands after sneezing, because she was not even sick. And it got elevated to the point where they were threatening that they were not even allowed the kid to come and visit anymore. And I was like, okay, how do I handle this situation? And I try to be like, okay, first thing, obviously, the emotion is being upset. Like, how are you elevating something to that level? And instead of being adult and communicate, hey, what happened? She feels uncomfortable for that, or what happened. So I just got a very long text, and it become now a family issue. And now my niece's birthday was 4 days after that incident. So she came in to pick up her gift, and she had mentioned that her mom not allow her to be there without her dad presence. So it got escalated to a level where I
This is a
can
9-year-old?
uh
She's 9 years old?
yes.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm having a hard time navigating to it. My first impression is
I
like,
think
okay.
there's things that you don't know that are happening behind the scenes there. And I would, like, this is just my advice. I'm not a child psychologist, so I don't understand, like, just sort of my practical advice would be to learn more if you can, to ask the mother if she would talk to you, not put any pressure on the child, but ask the mother and the father if they would meet with you on the phone or in person. And I would actually, even though you did nothing wrong, I would say your intention was just to help her be comfortable and not have mucus on her. But obviously this somehow, the experience for their daughter was different, and you'd really like to know anything they know. If they could explain any more to you. And just try to hear get more information. My guess is that some imagination, something um, you know, maybe it started, I have no idea if she has a lot of OCD, it started some compulsion, or like there could be something like that going on that you haven't been told about. Does that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense because the communication is not there, and it's very hard to understand their reaction
Yeah,
when it's something as simple as I will do it with any other kid, even I will do it myself. It's
right,
just, to
right.
me, it's a normal reaction, but how to handle it was a little bit having a hard time how to be able to approach these with what kind of strategy
Yeah.
will be good without creating a more issue, you know what I mean, without going into getting into
Much as you can. I know it's really hard, but try as hard as possible to have no defensive reaction.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so sorry. My
Yeah.
intention was just to do the normal cleaning I would do with myself with any child. Um, but please, I would like to learn more. Anything you can share with me. And because I care, like I'm just putting out words like perhaps something like, because I care so much for her, for you, for the whole family. If you wanted to meet with me with a counselor or a therapist to help explain more, I would love to learn more. Because sometimes having like a therapist there or a counselor there who could also bring a little more, help them be a little more reasonable.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that is so hard when
No,
these
this
things
is
happen. I know, like having many children and taking care of many other people's children, I remember some things like that occurring in my own life where I was just like so confused. And it was often that like the interpretation, something got miscommunicated to a parent that was having some kind of big emotion around that. And there was a misunderstanding there, usually.
yeah, it's with children, it's a little bit sensitive issue. That's why it was a little more like, okay, how
Yeah.
this is not about me, but what type of strategy will be good to
Oh,
you?
like with that child, you mean? With the, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I don't even understand what the child's perspective is in this. So, like, if I was working with that family, I would ask the child to tell me, like, in a totally non confrontational way, like,
Yeah.
what happened? What did it feel like in your body? You know, what happens? Like, also could be something going on for her with germs.
Well, I mean, in another note, I'm a little bit aware, not too much, that she was dealing with OCD. She was constantly washing her hands, and the bullying affect. She got bullied at school for a whole full year, and the mother didn't do much to help her get out of that environment and safety place. So that create more anxiety. But definitely, I believe there's more probably involved, because I believe that if she is doing this and create that type of attention, she's missing definitely attention at home, and she's creating this to get attention as well. But it's also a little conflicting because you don't have the whole story, the whole facts about what's
Right.
really going on with her at home. And
And the other thing that might make the parents feel better would be if you said, if you'd like me to speak with her counselor or her therapist to explain to me what I should do in the future. If there's ever something like this, because maybe there's something about her and washing hands that she's trying to overcome a compulsion or something, and they're not communicating this well with you. So, like, you're not being told the whole,
yeah, if she have the OCD where she have to wash her hands constantly, and is going to ask her to come and help her to wash her hands after that, it create an issue. But is
Yeah, so like it's like anyone who's a caregiver for her needs to know what the
is
rules are.
going on, what the rules are. Yeah,
Yeah, like you weren't told never wash your hands, or
exactly.
only in this situation, or don't use these words, like you need to be given
It's
information.
right, information, communication.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry though.
Well, thank you. I just
Yeah,
was a little
absolutely.
conflicting with, okay, how to handle this, especially, like I said, it's a child involved, and that's to me is very delicate, and and it's family on top of everything, so it's more emotional kind of. Your emotions goes like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you for listening, and thank you for your
absolutely.
advice.
And
Appreciate
I'm
it.
sure some people here might private message you to offer support too if you want
Thank
to
you.
talk
Yeah,
further.
I'm going. Thanks.
Okay. And Anita, is that a hand that you volunteer later? Okay, great. So
No,
I'm
this
gonna,
was also a question. A question. Sorry.
oh, yes, yes. Question. Great.
So I had because listening to Linda, I got this question. First thing was that I have to make a lot of videos for my company and for my programs, and I do everything else. I always postpone the video part. I don't know why. Even though I have the camera, I have the mic, I have everything set up, right? I have the script. So that was my question one, and my question number two was that actually next week, this weekend,
So
I'm
the
going to.
question is why? Why do I procrastinate the videos?
Yes, that's
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
mine. And my second question is that I'm going to India this weekend, and there is my nephew. Right now he's 16, but he lost his dad when he was 14. Sudden like reaction to the vaccine, and my brother passed away. And so this kid had a total change of personality. Like he used to be mischievous, always going playing in the fields, and even though he was a topper at school, but as soon as the dad passed away, he stopped, doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to go to like even study, doesn't have any friends anymore, doesn't want to talk to anyone, just wants to be in his room, which is very, very concerning, right? And of course, my sister-in-law is busy with her job and the younger kid, so I don't think this kid gets much attention at all. He gets more scolding than the attention. So that might be one reason. But so when I'm going, and I also try to talk to him on phone, but he has stopped talking on the phone, so I cannot force him to talk to me on the phone. But do you have any strategy like when I go to meet him in person? Like I bought a bunch of gifts I thought he might like, and because of all this, he has already has now fatty liver, so his health is deteriorating. He's become like quite overweight, where no one in my family is overweight. So I think it's all the shock of dealing with his father's death suddenly.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he doesn't know how to process it and doesn't have much support system to help him process it because everyone is processing it. Like his mom, his younger brother doesn't feel it because I think he was too young to really understand what happened. So, how would you suggest like some strategies when I especially meet him or like make him open up at least to talk, nothing else, right?
Right.
Mm.
Right. Is there anything that in the past he would kind of share with you, whether it's a game or a movie or something that's not so heavy to share, that first you could have some nice time and then you could ask if he'd be willing to talk with you more about how he's doing, that you just want to listen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so last time, also another thing is last time when I went, I saw that he was chatting with people on what's that, with the game playing and stuff and pretending to be an adult, which is
Mhm.
like another concerning because anyone can take advantage of him
Right.
that way. And so I had him delete all that, and he did that. And but again, like, and then even like when his shoe would get torn, we want to buy him a new shoe, and he would say, "No, no, right now we don't want to spend money like buying a new shoe, but you have to wear like a proper shoe, right?" And things like that. So
Also, is there
and
any job you could give him or something that will give him more of a sense of worthiness in the family? Like work
maybe
he does for you with something online, something digital, so he's can kind of start to grow his self-esteem more?
Yeah, I can do that, but after he talks to me. But I think in the home, maybe try to like tell him to use the washing machine to wash the do the laundry or something. Because my sister-in-law doesn't let him do anything; she does everything herself. So he has no chores. She just says, "Okay, you just study." That's it.
Right, right.
And he does not want to
She
study.
may
He does not.
need that
Mhm.
job of caring for the kids. That might be the way she copes, right?
Yes, yes,
But I'm thinking as the aunt from another country who has her own business, he
yeah.
might find it very exciting to help you.
Hmm.
And I could see how that might boost his, would be much better than doing the laundry.
Yeah,
If you
that's
could
true.
have a little bit of part-time job, you know, helping you in your business, it might change his opinion of himself, because what it might be deep sadness that's keeping
Yes.
him isolated, because there
Hmm.
might be that he doesn't feel others will understand,
Yeah.
or others aren't, maybe you could open up that you'd like to talk to him about his dad, and that you can share about your brother.
Hmm.
Maybe there's a way that the two of you can connect over memories. I don't know if the mother is able to do that with him.
The mother doesn't have time because she has to go to her job, take these kids to school, then cook for them. So she has a lot of things, right?
Right, right,
And also she has had two accidents because I think she's dealing with the grief as well.
right.
So yeah.
So, I hope that you can connect with him that way. And I hope with the mother,
Hmm.
you can really state your concern about him, because it sounds like the mother's not, perhaps, I don't know, but is
Yeah,
she?
mother is not giving him attention because she thinks he's the older one, so he should take care of himself.
Right,
Younger one needs the attention.
right, right. Because that's
And
where I
he's
think the real, like, you can do what you can do, but then really it's for the mother to, and other family that's there. Maybe you can
yeah.
have a meeting with more family members to try to
Mhm.
help him have more people that he can connect with, even if they go to his room.
Yeah. Actually, before he would go to the family members like festivals and stuff, he doesn't go anymore. He's the only one at home, and just like the mother and the younger brother goes.
And it could be that he's depressed
Yeah,
and
totally.
I don't know what the family's attitude is about getting
Mm.
help, but that's something that you have to probably deal with the mother about.
Sure.
Yeah. But if you can, I do think strategically, if you can give him some kind of work, it might create a
Yeah,
shift.
actually, I tried to give some work last time, and then he said, "Oh, he's too busy with the studies." I think because he does not really want to open up, maybe that's why.
Mhm,
I wanted him to do some social media,
mhm.
which is very, very easy. And he's very smart kid. But the thing is, I think he just because of not wanting to interact, he just pretends he's too busy with, and he's not even going to school regularly.
Yeah, so that's a big one. So
Hmm.
I mean, I get it that this, you see the urgency here and the
Yeah.
others don't. So you have to
Yeah.
bring awareness.
Mhm.
So finding a way, like, what resources do you need that will
Mhm.
help you to get the mother's attention, or to get his attention, that you're on his side to help him get help? How would he like to feel? You know, because maybe he will acknowledge that he does need more than what he's getting.
Yeah, and I think because the mother always thinks that he's being mischievous, so she scolds him. So maybe that's why he doesn't even go to school or something, because that way he's getting attention just with the scolding. That why
Right,
aren't you going to school?
right, right.
Otherwise, she will be busy with the other stuff.
And he
She's,
might not even mind the scolding to some
Mhm.
degree,
Yes,
but
I
if
think.
she could also give him more positive attention,
Mhm.
it could, yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wish there was an easier
Mm.
way about it. I think it's slow, and you're the one who's seeing this, so you need to
Yeah.
be the one to mobilize them. It sounds like you do a lot of that in your family. You're very
Yes.
yeah, they're lucky. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Okay, so let's see if we can all get more resourceful now, so that we can probably many of us are that person in the family that is helping others and needs resources to help ourselves as well. So just going to, hold on a sec. I've added an R to the strategy name, like Igor, but EGORRI. So we start this whole process first, I think, in ourselves as a coach, with the belief and the inspiration and the hope that a client can fill with resources and that they have within them the ability to make changes, to heal what's in conflict, to find something new that was already there, but they weren't able to connect with. So that's sort of inner hope is kind of the landscape living in you as the coach. So I want to ask you for a moment before we go further to just go into your own self in your own way, whether I close my eyes and touch my heart, but take a few deep breaths and see what it's like to find that place, whether this is a place that you imagine or it's a place in you, in your body, in your spirit. And this place is like I don't even know what a touchstone means, but I imagine a hand touching an important stone. And that touch is that place that gives you the inner knowing that every person has their own resources, their own beautiful creative mind, and their own willingness to make themselves and their life better, to feel better, to be more able to take action, to create integration and healing. So whatever your place inside or your touchstone is, just take a moment to imagine that. And like for me, it's just that hand touching this beautiful rock. It's just like, okay, yeah. And I can feel that lighting up inside. Pathways of hope. Okay, so from there we open our eyes and we can jump into the steps of this strategy. So as you know, we like an activation method to start with elevation. And by elevation, there's different practices, but all of them work to help the client feel elevated more. The energy is up and out. It's a smile. It's an open heart. It's a connection. And so the senses become more open. And when we do the practice that's in this strategy, it's to ask the client to share about something they love doing and to tell us about that in detail. It can be anything: bicycling, making pottery, cooking, reading. It might be going to a bar with friends, whatever it is. Ask them to be there and imagine it and speak about it in detail. And you ask questions to help them bring their senses alive. As they imagine it, their body is having the experience of being there, of taking in that joy and that love and that enjoyment of the thing they love doing. And that's very heart opening. And then, so that just happens like a natural conversation with them. Or it happens like close your eyes, really imagine it. Take me through it. Tell me what it's like to be on the bicycle or whatever it is. How does your skin feel? What do you smell? So it can be like conversational with some people, or it can be a deeper, more trance-like almost experience. And then we ask for a goal or intention that they have right now in their life. So can everyone right now find their own goal or intention and write it down and just keep that for yourself written either in the chat or on a piece of paper? And I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to it got very hot in my space, so I'm going to turn on my AC. So go ahead and take a moment to write down your goal or intention. Okay. And by the way, if you did not, as I was talking about that thing you love doing, if you didn't think of anything, let's go back a sec and think of something you love doing. Anything. What do you love doing? And can you find 3 sensory experiences about that thing you love doing? And see if in some way you can imagine you're doing it right now. And maybe the thing that comes to you isn't even something that you currently do a lot. I just remembered knitting, which is funny. I haven't knitted for a couple of years, but I remembered knitting and just like the rhythmicness, like pulling the yarn over the needle, the way it gave me something to do with my hands, often while I was doing something else, actually. So whatever it is, it can be quite simple. It can be having a cup of tea while, smelling the garden or watching the sunrise or set or something else. Okay. And then you've got your goal and your intention. So right now, just those 2 steps, we are living with that elevated state, what we love, and knowing what we want to create. That begins, do you see how if someone was able to do it more, it might be easier to pack for the trip. Even if they were to feel into their resource, what they love doing, their elevation, and then just hold in their mind, and I can pack for my trip. Without stress, I can pack for my trip. And it's because what we love doing gives us natural motivation. We're not squeezing our motivation out of ourselves through stress or pain or shame. Because the way most people motivate themselves is really mean. Well, if you don't do that, you're a bad person. People's inner narratives are shockingly mean, unfortunately. Not that any of us have that, of course. Not talking about us. No, we don't do that. But if we did, we're just human, right? And so when we do something like this, though, you're giving our nervous system a new opportunity to find motivation and purpose through love and through joy. Because what happens when we imagine that thing we love doing? We naturally light up a little bit. For some, that's excitement. For some, that's beauty. For some, that's a warm feeling. For some, it's an excited feeling. Whatever the feeling is, it's a lighting up. And that brings a different energy to the goal or intention, the object. And the people, you know, like, I don't like toxic positivity at all. I'm not one of those toxic positivity people. And at the same time, I find that there is a place for really retraining ourselves to be more positive. It really does work. Now, if someone's feeling really stressed or really sad or really angry, I'm going to help them be with that feeling, not in an attached way, but accept it, talk to it. And we'll get to that when we talk about the resistance. That's also very important, to be able to not reject our shadows, our pains, our difficulties. We're not just rejecting them and putting in the good. Like, it's not that. It's not a transplant. But it is good to know that you and your clients have this option to learn these skills that are like a, gosh, when I do it in myself, or when I'm with a client who's learned to do this and they're starting to do it more often, it is a really quick fix. And especially when we bring our body into it, I mean, often people want a quick fix. And what I find the hardest thing to help someone do is not the action of tuning into their resources and changing their belief. It's remembering to do it. Because we all get attached, unfortunately, to difficulty and struggle and pain. And our minds, our bodies seem to like just naturally cling to these old habits of approaching things through something like shame or regret or resentment versus the emotional helpers. So this whole process helps to give these other choices. Okay, I'm seeing lovely things in the chat. Manifest my certification as an energy coach in 3 months. Yes, you can do it, Veronique. I know you can. Yeah, beautiful. The difference between avoiding feelings and accepting and allowing or coming back when you can work with them. Yeah. And I love that, BB, what you said about 3 things you love doing. Gorgeous. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the next step. So we got those first steps. You guys understand that. I'm going to challenge you a little bit. It is very common, and you heard Linda and I talking about that a little bit. It is very common that a person gives you a obstacle versus a goal. So if that happens with your partner today, just write down, okay, that's their obstacle. Now I'm going to ask them some questions to find their goal. So let's think of some other things like, let's list some obstacles so we know what we're talking about. So like, for example, when it comes to health, someone could say, I want to stop drinking alcohol. And that stopping of doing something, that's the obstacle. There's nothing wrong with that. But we might find a goal that is, for example, I'm going to give myself peace and relaxation through some other activity versus drinking alcohol. And now they've found a goal or intention. We could go deeper into what the obstacle is with the alcohol, but just to simplify it, to give you, I don't know why I thought of that as a framework. And right from the start, I want to begin connecting this to the body today as practice. Asking your client, do you feel this intention or goal in your body? Can you connect with that place right now? And you can ask them just to take a breath there or imagine it. And if they say, I don't know, I have no idea where it is, just say, take a guess. It doesn't matter. Scan your body and just say, body, show me where this goal can live. and see what's told. They're beginning that dialogue with their body. And then step 3 is resourcing. Imagining one thing that gives you great energy. It could be value, person, memory, a place. It could be guides, angels. It could be the resource of waterfalls, of birds, of painting, whatever it is. And have them take your time inviting them to imagine these resources and to fill up with them. And by filling up, just breathing with them. You can ask, do they light up places inside you? And they might be like, well, I don't really get it, this resource thing. I don't like see things like angels and that stuff. You can be like, that's okay. Like, just tell me things you really like. What do you like in the world? Do you like dogs or cats? Is there somewhere in nature you love? And you're helping your client connect to those things that give them that joyful, expanded, helpful, supportive energy. Now, if a client really can't do it, and I know the person, and they've told me about like a camping trip they loved or a beach trip with their family, I might say, what if you just imagine being on that trip you told me about in Italy where you guys were having so much fun? What's it like to focus on that feeling of fun? What's it like to remember that place? And I might go to one thing I know about them, or I know they love to surf. What's it like when you're riding a wave or you're preparing to go out surfing or when you're done surfing? Tell me about that. So we use what we know about the person. Today we're going to be really good clients and we're going to offer our coaches resources. Don't make them do the work. This person might never have worked with you before. Some of you may have worked with each other. But as a coach, and specifically as an energy coach, you are creating your own little lexicon dictionary of a client's resources that you can bring in during any session when they're stuck. So think resources are like unsticking agents. A person is stuck, they have an obstacle, a resource can come and clear it, clean it, fill it with purpose. It is easier when you've done the higher self session, like we did last week. The person can connect then with their higher self or their higher self guide as a resource. Their place in nature that they love to imagine can be a resource. So you get it. Take your time on that resourcing part. Now, if an obstacle didn't present yet, chances are an obstacle is going to present. Because we all as humans, we like to get sticky. That's why I found a picture of making pottery, because that clay, that I love. I mean, if my back's pretty good now, but like if my back was like in perfect condition, I would have my own pottery wheel and be doing it all the time because it's so, it uses so much of us and you watch something transform and build. But what do people often say when they're stuck, when they give it a metaphor? They're stuck in the mud. They can't get out of something. Something feels like it's, often I've had clients tell me they feel like they have a hole in their chest, which is not a great thing to have a client tell you, by the way. I get worried about heart attacks or something when people say that. I'm always like, okay, let's be really relaxing now because this vision in the chest, I get a little worried. But whatever they express as an obstacle or resistance, it might be words. I just know that even though I want it, something always gets in my way. I'm really good at beginning a project, but I can't follow through. What are some resistances that you have that you know show up for you. I get excited for a while and then I hit a block with my technology. I love this, but I can't do that. Like these resistances, we all have them. And we usually by a certain age are pretty clear about what they are. Because what's funny is they kind of hang around us for a long time, almost like a best friend. Like it's resistances have a way of being close by. So because of that relationship to the resistance, we don't want to, like, metaphors we might have heard in some other traditions might be like just blast it apart, send it to the moon, just burn it up, burn up all your negative energy. And I'm not saying those metaphors don't sometimes work for people, like I've been known to put things in the fire or send it down a river or whatever, beautiful things. But if they're like a friend that's been with us, that resistance, I think it deserves a little attention. So here we want to give it a little attention, whether it's in the body or it's more visual for the person. Ask it a question. We might talk to it. Does it have a message for us? Does it worry about us? And there aren't that many words here. There's more words for this part in the session guide, I'm realizing. This is good for a slide for like a quick notes, but the session guide has more clear language, I think. We can ask them if they want to imagine their resistance like a baby animal they're holding and see that baby animal grow strong and healthy so it can go on its way. Or would they like to bring light or their resources to that resistance? So play. Today I want you to get comfortable playing with resistance a little bit if it shows up. Don't go looking for it if your client doesn't have it, but probably chances are your client's going to have a little bit of resistance to play with. Restate the clear intention the person has, their goal. And know that sometimes it's very on the auditory level. It's a conflict in belief or emotion that the person can state. Like, I want this, but I believe this. So I want to have the energy to pack for my trip, but I also really believe I've used all my energy walking the dogs and I just don't have any. And it could be true, but there's probably ways for them to find new energy. So how they can hold both of those statements as true and then see if, because sometimes we just have to accept that's true and that's true. And what you're adding in to heal resistance in that moment is acceptance. And maybe they can imagine both things that are true, getting a good night's sleep and things being different in the morning or taking a nice hot bath or whatever it is they like to do. Okay. But we're basically being kind to resistance and allowing it to heal or grow and evolve. And then we're going back to the resources. And going back to the resources is the integration. We're bringing the resources into the whole body. And we're helping the client feel their resources now throughout their whole being. And everyone's different. So they may have very different experiences with this. It may be very verbal, it may be more on a felt experience level, and it may be more visual. So it's okay however they process is perfect. One thing I don't want you to do as coaches, this is big red flag, guys. Do not do this as a coach. Do not close your eyes here and go into giving them resources in your imagination. Stay with them, stay looking at them, ask them to bring their resources in. Say, now we're integrating this. We're integrating, we're allowing your body and your creative mind to bring healing to to what is blocking you or to what you need to fill up with more energy. Maybe they didn't get a block. And we're literally going to bring in whatever shows up for you. Tell me what shows up. Is it a rainbow? Is it a new belief? And you're going to go with what they're bringing in, more resources. And you're going to ask them to feel that throughout their body. And where that goal lived might get bigger now and expand. They might be able to see it in their life take shape, take a new direction, have action steps involved. And that step 6 is that clarity about the action. Ask your client what feels new or different now as they brought in their resources. What's the first small step they want to take this week? And encourage them to take very practical, easy things to implement. It could be having them find a practice that reminds them. This can sound so simple, but it makes such a difference. If a person finds an empowering statement, visual, or kinesthetic experience that gives them that emotion they need or gives them that belief they need, and they practice it every day for a couple minutes, and especially when they're under stress, they are integrating that new resource, and it will naturally lead to different action, different communication, different ability, different brain functioning. So it's kind of hard to show this through my words. If you've ever done it, you know it will work. And that's why I believe we should coach ourselves so much, because if we practice for a week, finding a practice that gives us this resource, keeping our goal in mind and feeling that integration in us, it becomes a real shifter, a real game changer in us for transformation. So I do encourage us all to keep this kind of growth happening this week, 2 minutes a day. So whatever you set as your goal today, I'd love it to keep living in you as a practice this week. All right, I know we just have a few more minutes, so we're probably not going to go into a demo. I did share a link, at least for energy coaches, to a demo in the classroom. Many of you have seen a demo of this. How are you feeling? Any questions? Linda and I could do a real fast version maybe, but let me know how you guys are feeling about trying this one out. And Linda, I don't know if you can find the longer slide guide. I mean, not slide, but like the longer guide that might give more resources.
I believe that this one that I just shared is actually the PDF, the guide. So let me just take
I think that one you just shared is the one I sent you that's the slides.
let me double check. I had opened it up.
Okay, because there's also a longer guide in the energy coach training in the email I sent yesterday and this morning. The first one, it had a link to a part of the classroom, and there is the longer PDF too.
I see. Yes, you are right. This has pretty much just the copy that's also in the slides. So,
And which is good if you've done it before and you want like a quick reference. But if you do want the longer script, I'm realizing that this is a lot. Now, if you only, with your client today, you only do the resources and the goal, that's okay. Like, take your time, do what you can. If the obstacle is really present and you want to stay talking to it and offering it resources, don't worry about the integration. You're doing it by healing the obstacle. And the reason I wanted you guys to have the version without the pictures is it's a lot easier to go through if you're doing the session, but I'll also add I'm always happy to share the picture version.
all right. I think I have it pulled up now, that longer guide. So,
Okay, great.
yeah.
Any questions, people? Thoughts? Now we're not, sometimes in coaching, we do get given really big goals or intentions for today's practice, or we get given really big obstacles. For today's practice, let's look at some a little bit easier ones. Like, think this isn't something that like it's been like hard for me for 20 years or something. Now, if something does come to mind that has been hard for you for 20 years, ask yourself, is there a belief around it I could work with? Can I make my goal to change that belief? Is my obstacle a belief there around that? Because, well, that's my new little pet hobby, finding the beliefs and changing the beliefs. What's happening? I'm like going back in time. Is it like 2000 or something? I don't know. Me and beliefs. Took me a long time to change my beliefs, I guess. But they are powerful. Okay. So no questions, huh? All right, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to meet in we'll take a 10-minute break, and we'll meet in the practice room. The practice room has a different code. You received an email with both rooms. Linda, is there anything that helps you when you're doing this kind of session with someone? Any notes you want to add to what I'm saying? I value your experience a lot.
Yeah, I think what you shared about being really curious and having that belief that they can make this transformation. I also feel like having a lot of positive, be able to hold a real positive space as someone is sharing what they love, and to be able to ask questions. And I know I've had clients who love it when, they share so much about it. And then you can say, I felt like I was doing that with you. And
That's great.
when
That's such
they
great feedback.
describe it in such a way that you kind of create the atmosphere of it right there for both of you. I think that that's so elevating, and I think clients get a lot out of that.
Yeah, and I love that you brought in that. I hadn't said it, you said it, the curiosity, getting curious. That your curiosity is a huge tool in that session. So do you find, Linda, that like, do you get curious mostly about what they love and the resources, but do you get curious too about the obstacle and the
Yeah, I think there's a degree to which, yes, it's great to be curious about the obstacle, but I try not to spend too much time on the obstacle, because then you can just be reinforcing it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
And sometimes just one word brought to the obstacle is really helpful, like welcome.
mhm.
Like, oh, good. You're sharing an obstacle right now. Let's hold space for that. Let's say welcome to it. Welcome.
Yeah. And then another thing I think we've touched on in the past is that you can have a lot of fun with that transformation of the obstacle, right? So I know you've talked before, like, if someone describes it as like a big building, how do you make it shrink? Or how does it become cuter or easier? Or you redecorate it, or maybe it's a wall, and how do you like make the wall easy to scale or make a
Or go through, right? Yeah. So yes, perfect. Thank you. I really needed your creative mind here, Linda. I'm so deep bow. I'm so appreciative because I was forgetting to say all that. Yes. So play with it. Let their creative mind bring resources that can transform it. That's a little bit more like our metaphor session when we're transforming metaphors, but here you can do the same thing. So where it might be a little different with the resources is if their resource is a butterfly, what does the butterfly want to do now to help you with your goal or to transform your resistance? Or what does your higher self say? Or your creative mind, like Linda was saying, how do you want to imagine that differently? bringing in, or if it feels like a hole in their chest, what do you want to fill that hole with? You know, or do you want to move it outside of you and put it in nature? You know, like we can work with whatever they give us. Don't worry if you're a little shocked ever or a little stuck. Take a deep breath. Say thank you. Say, let's just be with resources for a moment and breathe. And as you breathe, just share with me, keep your eyes open though, look at them. Share with me the resources that are coming. And as you breathe, see if you can fill with even more of that love you felt as you were knitting, or that joy you felt as you were bicycling, whatever it is. You go back to their elevation and giving yourself time to get curious. Because sometimes we're not curious on the spot. We can't be. We're a little, for whatever reason, like surprised, or we're feel a little frozen. So remember, you're in charge. You can give time to breathe and be with all of that. You know, you learn to have these segues that give time for the next creative movement to arise in the coaching. Okay.
And I think one other thing that made me think of is which I think is so beautiful as a coach, and you and Mark have said it over and over again, is how can we help them make it easier? Right? Because a lot of people will come with a goal like, I want to clean out my whole office, right? And so when they get to the end of the session and you're setting that their action for the week, it may be, I'm going to get this all done, and then I'm going to have a garage sale, and so you can say, well, how that will be great. And it's a beautiful goal, and that might be very achievable, but what could be even easier? What would be an easy first step that you would feel? Because we want,
and then like I had the thought, I'm gonna go buy plastic bins, Linda. So I'm your client right now. I've got a mess to organize. Really, I do. I'm gonna go get bins so I can put things away.
and that's a brilliant first goal. So I would say, yeah, absolutely.
That's how it works. People realize, like, instead of being overwhelmed, they realized, okay, what do I need to do?
What's that first thing?
Yeah, and then you got people who have the long, detailed list of everything. And if there's someone like that, that's where I would go to. It's probably a deeper belief or emotional conflict. It's not executive functioning. They have that piece. They
Right.
can make very detailed plans. The block is more in their body or in their belief system, which could be simultaneously happening. Okay, I'm using our break time. 2:30, we're back. So 12 minutes, okay? 12 minutes, we're back with the practice session link. It sounds like I understand if you're in Europe and you need to go to sleep. I hope you dream of your resources and the things you love, and your dream creates transformation. Okay, beautiful guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Magali.